Do you know how Jira can accommodate more than 5,000 work items on a Jira board? Do you know how status transition controls the workflow of a Jira work item? Beyond exploring how the Agile mindset relates to Jira, this guide will walk you through 3 core areas of Jira, starting with spaces, work items, and boards.
We are going to acquire knowledge on what is Agile and how is an Agile mindset and Jira related. What is Jira Space and why Jira projects are becoming Jira Spaces. How does a board display various types of issues in a software space? Last but not least, enriching different issues on a Kanban project. However, to gain a comprehensive understanding of all Jira features and components, one must know how to explore and navigate Jira effectively. We will cover the Jira interface in detail in another tutorial. Go to Atlassian's sign-up page. Click on Create an Account link. Enter an email address. You can use work email, Gmail, Outlook, or any valid email ID. Atlassian will send a code on the entered email ID. Enter the code and click on Verify. Finish setting up account by entering full name and password. Click on Continue. It will redirect to newly created Jira account. Navigate to the app section to include the Jira application. Click on Try Cloud button to add Jira app. It will give a prompt to choose your Jira site URL. This will be your permanent Jira site URL. Click on Continue. This will redirect you to choose from one of the software development templates to create the first Jira space for your account. On next screen, provide the name of your first project and follow the directions. User will be redirected to the Jira application homepage. As one can see, the Jira icon is visible, and the first space, the leadership lanes Scrum P1, is visible under Spaces section. Let's start. What is Agile? To put it simply, Agile is a project management methodology that tackles work in brief, repetitive cycles called sprints. This indicates your project management approach is grounded in logic and empirical data. It means it is data-driven. Agile, which is a set of principles and practices, one can continuously develop the plan, perform continuous delivery, and make improvements by responding to changes quickly. Agile is not a tool, it's a mindset and process framework. Agile teams embrace change with agility and empowers the team. Teams are continuously improving rather than relying solely on fixed skills and processes. We will now explore what Jira is and how it works. Jira is a versatile project management tool that helps teams organize, track, and visualize their work. It is highly configurable and designed to adapt to a team's specific processes and workflows. Jira provides visual representations of work through various features, including project boards, reports, and dashboards. So how does Jira relate to an Agile mindset? Jira is a tool that helps implement Agile processes. To put it simply, Agile tells you what to do and Jira helps you do it efficiently. Let's transition to a new critical topic, Jira Space, and understanding the reasons behind Jira's decision to rebrand its projects as spaces. A Jira Space is a container for tracking work, which includes a collection of work items like stories, bugs, and tasks. A Jira Space is the new name for a Jira project. Atlassian renamed projects to spaces to better align with the terminology used in their other products, like Confluence. Project was a misleading term because many Jira containers are not traditional time-bound projects. They're often used for ongoing work, departments, or products, making space a more accurate description. What's changing and what's not? The update is a name change only. It has no impact on how your Jira containers work. The word project will be replaced by space throughout Jira Cloud, including in Jira Service Management and Jira Product Discovery. The icon currently representing projects will be updated to reflect the new space terminology. Functionally, nothing has changed. You will continue to use spaces to scope work, organize items, and collaborate, just as you previously did with projects. To create a new space, go to the Spaces section in your navigation menu and select the plus icon labeled Create Space. The Space Templates screen offers various pre-configured options designed to help teams quickly create spaces tailored to specific needs or uses. Pick a template to get started quickly with pre-configured settings for Scrum, Kanban, Jira Service Management, or Jira Product Discovery. One can also go directly to the specific product section and choose a specific space template. To create the new space, select the Kanban template under the Jira application options. Space management is conducted by selecting between company-managed and team-managed projects. For this specific scenario, a team-managed template will be utilized. In a team-managed project, team members can set up and control their specific working processes and practices within a self-contained space. Conversely, in a company-managed project, all configurations are controlled solely by Jira administrators. We will discuss this feature in more detail in another tutorial. Give your space a name. The space template can be updated at any time by selecting a new one. Well, the next step is to click Next. The system may prompt you to manage team members. You can choose to invite or bypass this process at this stage. Space will be created as shown, and you will be directed to the board section within the navigation pane. Before discussing space containers, let's clarify the concept of a space key. Space keys are unique keys used to identify a specific space. They are on the Details page in the Space Settings section. In our scenario, the highlighted space key is generated automatically when a space is created. By default, the person who establishes the space is assigned as the space owner. Navigate to a board on your space. To add a work item, select the Create button found under any board column. Alternatively, if you're adding the very first work item to a team-managed Kanban board, simply hover your cursor over the relevant issue area. The work type, such as task in this instance, will be displayed. Proceed by entering the task name and pressing Enter. Jira automatically assigns a unique issue key consisting of a combination of a space key and a sequential number to each issue. You can similarly create other issue types, such as bugs and stories. All of these will be covered later in the tutorial's Issues section. What is a board? A board is a visual, agile tool for managing project work, such as tasks or issues. A board provides a visual representation of all work items, such as tasks and issues, and organizes them into columns that represent the workflow stages. It is used to manage and track the progress of those work items as they move through the development cycle. Boards are central to Agile methodologies like Scrum and Kanban, offering different views and metrics to help teams manage their work more efficiently. How to distinguish a software space board from a business space board? To check whether you're in a software or business space, right-click on More Actions next to the space name. This will display if the space is software or business space. It will also display if it is company-managed or team-managed. In Jira software space, boards can be either Scrum boards for teams that plan work in sprints, or Kanban boards for teams that focus on managing and limiting work in progress. In Kanban board, using the WIP limit, one can set the maximum number of tasks allowed in a particular workflow step before things can get out of hand. In case of a Scrum board, even with existing work items, the Scrum board will be empty until the sprint is officially initiated. Navigate to Backlog tab. You need to start the sprint to populate the board with data. The backlog work items become visible on the board screen as soon as the sprint starts. What are the benefits of utilizing boards? How to map Jira workflow status with board column. A typical board includes 3 standard status columns. To do, usually the initial column, then in progress and done as the final column. Let's introduce a new status option under workflow and determine how it will be represented on the board. To update the existing space workflow, select More Actions, like as shown. Choose Manage Workflows from the drop-down menu. A clear understanding of the workflow definition is crucial before any changes are made. A workflow is a set of statuses and transitions that an issue moves through, while the board provides a visual representation of those statuses as columns. Select Add Status to add a new step to the workflow. You can add existing statuses or create new ones. When the Add Transition is clicked, a Create Transition window appears. In this window, select the values that apply when a user moves a work item from the In Progress status to the Review status. Select the newly created Review status as shown below. To restrict status changes, navigate to the Transition section and deselect Allow Issues in any status to move to this one. This setup enforces that a work item must be in progress before it can be moved to the review status. Choose the Update Workflow button. When the prompt appears, proceed by selecting Save and Continue. Move the newly created column to the position immediately following the In Progress column on the review columns and statuses on the board screen. Click on Save Changes button. Return to the Scrum board. You can see the addition of a review column. The Create button is not visible under the review column, because a dependency is set on a previous step in the workflow configuration while setting up the transition. Move the item to the review status. Directly moving an item from the To-Do column to Review is blocked by the configuration permissions set previously in the workflow configuration. Company Managed Boards. Navigate to a Company Managed space. Next to your board's name in the sidebar, select these three dots, then choose Board Settings. Expand Layout in the sidebar, then select Card Layout. Select the Add Field button, choose the desired field to display on your card, and then click Save. A maximum of 3 custom fields can be chosen for the card. Upon returning to the board view, the existing information for those 3 fields should be visible on the card. Customizing your board's card layouts allows you to highlight the most important details, making them instantly visible and simple for your team to understand. Next, we will cover configuring card colors. To add color, next to your board's name in the sidebar, select these 3 dots, then choose Board Settings. Expand Layout in the sidebar, then select Card Colors. Card colors can be determined by work types, priorities, assignees, or JQL query results. Select a method from the drop-down. Select the square in the color column and pick a color for the work type, priority, assignee, or query. In our scenario, we will set up the card colors for the priorities. When you return to the board view, the cards will display colors that correspond to their assigned priority levels. Changes to a work item's priority on the board screen will dynamically update the card's color to the associated priority color. Next, we enrich various types of work items. In Jira, teams track bugs and individual tasks using work items, which were previously referred to as issues. To put it simply, a work item is any piece of work that you track in Jira. You can modify work items to display progress or include key information, such as the assignee's name, a detailed description, or relevant attachments. Before detailing specific work items, a foundational understanding of work types and their hierarchy is necessary. Jira offers various work types, including epics, tasks, bugs, and stories, to help users identify, categorize, and distinguish different types of work. By default, Jira supports 3 levels of hierarchy. Epic, which is the parent work type, is the highest level used for large bodies of work. A story, task, or bug is a standard work type at level 0 that exists under an epic and can be divided into smaller tasks. Subtasks at the lowest level are the individual actions required to complete a story or bug. We will explore how these various work types are utilized across the different Jira applications. Jira apps offer default work types tailored to meet the specific needs of various workspaces and teams. Let's review the default list of the built-in work types included with different Jira applications. We will begin by defining the types of work in the software space. Software spaces are pre-configured with a single parent work type, and that work type is epic. Epic represents a significant amount of work that is decomposable into individual stories or tasks. It is akin to representing a major feature, project goal, or deliverable that requires multiple sprints to complete. We observe that the epic has 3 default standard work types within its hierarchy. The first one is a story. A user story is a requirement, typically completed within a single sprint and estimated using story points, that describes functionality from the customer's point of view. Next is task. It is a general piece of work that needs to be completed. Next standard work type is bug. It is a defect or a failure of a product or system to perform as intended, identified either during testing or in live production environments. Subtasks fall under the umbrella of standard work types. A subtask is a smaller part of a larger work item like a bug, story, or task in Jira, used to break down a project into more manageable pieces. Let's examine how work types are structured within the application's UI. Please open an epic work item. The epic contains work items that correspond to various standard work types. One can view the presence of user stories, tasks, and bugs. As we are aware, subtasks can only be created under standard work types, not directly under an epic. We will now examine the configuration process for these work types within Jira applications. Let's navigate to the default work type scheme screen, where it is determined which work types will be available to a set of spaces. Work types are tailored for use in software, business, or service management spaces. For instance, in the software space, 5 work types are configured by default. Return to a software space, create a new work item, or open an existing one to view all work types organized by their hierarchy. Upon clicking Create, the user can view the parent epic work type alongside the standard work types that are categorized under the epic. You'll recall that more work types can be created or added within the work type hierarchy. Select the Create button and then its accompanying down arrow to reveal a list of work types and the Manage Types option. Choosing the Manage Types option directs you to the work type screen for that space. To make changes, click the Actions button and choose Edit Work Types. Use the Work Type Scheme screen to add more work types to this software space, then click Save. Navigate back to the software space screen by clicking the Go Back link. Click on Create and then click on the work type drop-down as shown. The newly added work type will be available now for this software space. Similarly, we can review the default work types configured for business spaces. Use the following navigation to reach the work type scheme screen. By default, business spaces come with one standard work type called Task and one child work type called Subtasks. Return to the Jira application screen, choose a business space, and then click the plus Create or Create button within that space. The work type dropdown includes both Task and its parent work type, Epic. The Epic work type is visible because the Epic issue type is a special built-in hierarchy level that exists across the entire Jira site configuration and is typically part of the default issue type scheme. Even if a project's specific issue type scheme only includes tasks and subtasks, the Epic issue type remains available due to this global configuration and its unique hierarchical function. You can add up to 30 work types. We have reviewed the fundamentals of work types, hierarchies, and relevant work items. Parent and child work items. The terms parent and child categorize how work items relate to each other. A parent work item is the overarching item in a hierarchy, with smaller, component tasks nested beneath it. For example, an epic can have story, task, and bugs as child items. A child work item is a sub-item of another parent work item. For example, subtasks can be the child of a user story, bug, or a task. The parent-child relationship extends across all work types. In short, any type of work item can serve as both a parent and a child within the hierarchy, except for subtasks, which always remain at the bottom of the structure and can only function as a child item. What are linked work items? In Jira, linked work items are issues that are connected to show a relationship, such as dependency, duplication, or association. We can examine a situation in which a bug is introduced by a specific task. Let's go over this using an example. Open the work item that is a bug. Under the linked work items details, choose both the dependent item and why it's a dependency. The drop-down menu in Jira offers a variety of common link types to define relationships between work items such as blocks, duplicates, reviews, relates, causes, and others. Click on it as shown. In our scenario, we will choose link type is caused by. In the adjacent drop-down, select the task that caused the bug. To set up the relationship between the two work items, select the link button. The association is bidirectional. All linked work items are reflected in the details of each connected item. field layout of a work item. A Jira work item contains many fields that describe, track, and manage the work. The exact fields depend on your project type, Scrum, Kanban, service management, configuration, and admin settings. Regardless of whether the application is for software, business, or service management, the core layout remains largely consistent, with only minor field variations specific to the product type. The work item view's flexible design allows you to strategically place fields across key configurable regions, as shown below. Let's review a work item layout screen on a Kanban board. Fields are placed in different sections on the work item form to group related information. We will begin with the description section. Users typically look at this section first when they open a work item. You should configure your most important fields here. The field's built-in rich text editor offers extensive text formatting options. You can format text using bolding, color changes, and bulleted or numbered lists, as well as attach files and images. Tagging a team member using @mention in a work item automatically sends them a notification about relevant updates and their assigned duties. Linking an issue connects it to other work items, establishing a prerequisite relationship where the current task depends on the completion of the associated item. Next is Fields tab. If a work item layout screen has multiple field tabs configured, those tabs will appear in this section. We will review how these field tabs are configured on a work item. Select Configure icon in the bottom right corner of your screen. Select the highlighted Configure Screen link to open the work item configure screen. Select the Add tab link and provide a name for the new tab. Populate the newly created tab with the necessary fields. Return to the previously accessed item or any other item for the space and open it. You can see the newly added tab there. Next is Context Field section. With these fields, the work becomes clearer and more informative. You can configure fields such as start date, due date, hours, priority, and more within this section. Clicking the Configure link reveals the Layout section, where the placement and order of the context fields are displayed. Let's reposition the Start Date field. It is done either by right-clicking the three dots menu and then select Move Up to place the start date above, or by simple drag and drop the field. This configuration set will be applied to all of the work types. Now the start date position has been moved up in the Context Field section. Users have the flexibility to customize their pinned fields group by selecting and pinning the context fields that are most relevant to their individual needs and workflows. The fields have been repositioned to appear in a new section titled My Pinned Fields. Next section is More Fields section. Fields that are set to hide when empty will be grouped here if they contain no value. If a field value is present, it will surface in the Details group. To understand why Story Points appears in the More Fields section, navigate to the Configure screen. The Story Points field appears below the Hide When Empty line on the configuration screen. Return to the work item and observe that the story field is blank. To save the entered value, provide a number in the Story Points field and then select the check button. Refresh the browser or close and open the work item again. The Story Points field has been moved to the Details section. Next section is Configure section allows you to customize field layout by changing their positions and visibility in the work item view, giving you control over what data appears and where. The Automation section is where users can build, manage, and run their new automation rules. Next is the Atlassian Project section, which is only meant for Epic work item. This feature keeps the stakeholders informed of progress by providing regular updates that link directly to Jira work items, offering necessary context to address common questions proactively.